We require too much of our teachers. And I've said this on more than one occasion. You cannot pay anyone, I believe, particularly our teachers, enough to receive the kind of abuse and disrespect that they're receiving in the school system. So any amount of money that is increased is not going to be enough. What we need to do is eliminate the disrespect and abuse in the school system and allow the teachers to teach, as opposed to have to be the student counselor, having to be the student nurse, having to look at all the social issues. Let the teachers do what they do. And by the time when you address all those things for a child to get the child ready for learning, it's the end of the day. And then the next day you have to start all over again. So we need to pay teachers more, and allow them to move back to doing what they were educated to do, and that is teach and get the services for the students that are needed. School counselors, school nurses, school psychologists, social workers. Let those professionals do what they do. Let's re-employ those professionals in the system to deal with the needs of our children. It's more important now than it's ever been, because we have learned, we've always known it, but now we learn more through research with adverse childhood experiences, and that impacts how that impacts learning. It impacts learning in a different way. Some people have heard of adverse childhood experiences or ACE. What it simply means is this, that if a child has experienced more than one traumatic event, one or both parents incarcerated, domestic violence, a death of a parent, alcoholism in the home, homelessness, child abuse, or physical abuse, they are less likely to be prepared to learn, and therefore it's going to be necessary to get them socially and emotionally ready for that third part, which is the teacher's responsibility, and that is learning. And if we don't address those issues early on, particularly in our lower socioeconomic neighborhoods where we have more trauma involved than in some of the other settings, don't get me wrong, there's trauma in every neighborhood. It really doesn't matter about the socioeconomic status. There's going to be some trauma. But in the Black community or in lower socioeconomic communities, you have more trauma than you have in other communities where the educational and the social and the academic and also the financial responsibilities are greater. It's just more. If you notice, when we were in the good times of economic prosperity, crime rate is down. When we have less money in the economy, crime rate goes up. And that is the same thing with trauma. When the times are good financially, trauma goes down. When it's bad times, stress, trauma goes up. And all of that impacts learning. And thus, we have to have school board members who understand that and are able to develop policies to direct the superintendent to come up with curricula and pedagogy to address all those issues as it relates to how do we teach trauma-informed education to children who have adverse childhood experiences.